is the Cruise Zone on Radio Now 95.3 FM.
Alright, this is the Cruise Zone on Radio Now 95.3 FM, where we ease you into the weekend. And my name is Dan Akins, and I have my main man with me, Djaji Prime.
What up, what up, what up?
Yeah, and we've gone through the first half of the show, Karaoke Minute and Pop Corner, where we basically gave you, gist coming from the pop culture world. But right now, it's on to the interview segment of the show, and I'm really, really excited because we have a very big and important guest with us this evening.
Lagos City's finest, Lafiaji's finest.
Yeah.
Shout.
Yeah.
We have Vector the Viper in the building.
Hey.
Vector, good evening. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
How you feeling?
Hey, I'm feeling chill. This is Lagos Island, baby. I'm home.
Home indeed. Home indeed.
Yes,
As I was saying just before we got on air,
yeah.
I've been listening to you since I was, 15, 14. I remember when I used to go to school, I just blast King Cole remix.
Hey.
I remember when we used to argue, Vector is better than, so Vector is the most lyrical guy, this.
That
So-
one was everywhere.
So
Yeah.
to finally have this opportunity to have this conversation is a pleasure. Welcome to Radio Now.
Where? Thank you for having me.
All right.
Feels dope.
Okay. So let's get into it. So,
Yes.
what's it been like for you this COVID period without no proper party vibe, club vibe, or is that not your thing?
Me that used to go and hide behind speaker in the club. I like to party, but I've always just liked to do things my own way. Like, it's just always been like, I've always been self-aware since I was a kid. So I was problem in the white garment church. I was like, so what does this mean? So yeah, keep quiet. So I've just always been that guy. With the COVID-19 outbreak 2020, it was very, at least in a way, I felt like it was a good thing.
Really?
Yes, I feel like a lot of people got time to pause and think. It was something that I didn't see for a while, and I was worried that we were all headed down, say, a spiral doom path, because all we just kept on doing was go. We kept on going. Nobody even stopped to pay attention to certain details. I may be wrong, but that's how I felt.
Yeah.
So when everybody was locked down or isolated at home, we had time to think about things that were just more than, like he said, turn up, club. Like, we had time to think more about things that mattered and were important to us, and that's how I felt about that. It's crazy because people lost their lives, and that's weird. That's super weird. I never thought in my head that I would have to experience something like that year, but something called the collateral beauty. Yeah. There's a collateral beauty to everything. The collateral beauty to this is, I feel like most people now took a break and started to think about things a bit more detailed. And I guess that also you could tell in the music there's like a new evolution to certain types of music.
We actually saw like an upturn of the amount of music being released, more albums, more EPs during that COVID-19 period.
Of course, because musicians know, I guess they do, but it's been a thing that musicians know that throughout, no matter what the times are, whether trying, whether jubilation, whether you're excited, whether you're sad, music is always needed to help keep the momentum going. So shout out to all the musicians that rose up to the challenge.
Definitely. So you strike me as like a introspective person, right? Well, we've been scrolling through your Instagram. It seems you're getting that summer bod ready. How's your fitness routine going? Do you have a trainer, or do you just have your own?
I don't have a trainer, I have a killer.
Okay.
You know those ones that always want to overdo and kill you in this. But yeah, for me, I won't say I have like a resume, like you said. It's not. It's just like, okay, so I'll do my best at home with a few push-ups, have a little workout thing at home as well. But when I feel like, okay, so you need to do more, I just go into the gym and face the trainer square on. So whatever thing you've seen on the gram, that's like a day workout.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Fair enough.
Right. I wish I could work out though. It's like
No.
I can't
Have you
do. I
tried to
can't
get
just. Can't,
Daniel to jog,
I can't.
jog in the morning?
I did it once. I tried it once and I almost died.
I mean, don't you run radio?
Oh,
See
the
what you did
wordplay.
there.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so you've explained, like, I'm sure you're even tired of explaining the origin of your name, Vector the Viper. Vector is from physics class, I believe, and
Yeah.
Viper from biology. So
Yeah.
what was your favorite part of biology class?
I know you're expecting me to say reproduction. I mean,
No.
No expectations at all. Trust me.
the irony is the best part of biology class for me was when there was an NYSC teacher that taught us, and she was a babe. Bruh. I think her name was Miss Balogun or something. I was like, ooh, look at you. So, bruh, with a sketch plant cell with detail. Like, yo, so, like, we were swagging out on the plant cell. We even like a little signature to the side. Like, like, yeah, I mean, I think that's the most important. Well, Greg's, we had like a lot of specimens too. So in the lab, we're just funny looking like a snake in a bottle, or like, I don't know if that fetus was real though. If it was, I'm like,
that's scary though. That's scary.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But I think the debate was more about the skeleton. Like, this cannot be a real one. Like, this cannot be a real human being. The remains of a like, he has to be props. Yeah, but it was interesting. Was that I think that the best part is the female teacher that gave us biology classes and specimens in the lab.
They're always those.
Yes, so-
But then it's pretty interesting though that you actually ended up with a bachelor's in philosophy.
Yeah, well, bachelor's in arts of philosophy.
Art
from,
of
yeah.
philosophy. Well, what switch happened? How did that happen? Science, arts.
You know, the funny thing is, I felt like it was follow that I did with science as a kid.
Damn.
Yes, now because in the average Nigerian family, now you have to be a doctor or something.
Right.
So the only thing that had you did, that gave you the cojones for that was, yeah, I want to be a doctor. Yeah, and I was always cool with biology. Like, I was always fascinated about the human anatomy. So they probably thought that was what it was, but maybe it was from an artistic perspective and not necessarily a scientific one or say proper medical one. So I think I was trying to get into school, University of Lagos, and I was checking the brochure.
Yeah.
And I saw philosophy. I was like, This is the study of yourself, know yourself. I was like, this might be interesting. Like, that was what it was. It was, let me just check this stuff out. And I went in and graduated from my diploma, the first of my sets. And I was like, okay, maybe this might just be it for me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, but do you think that this kind of like had an effect on your art? Because there's real depth to your stuff.
Because
Yeah.
I even wanted to ask, were you already flirting with arts in school, like doodling or scribbling bars somewhere?
Oh, so I used to do everything artistic, including try to see how long spirits could burn on my palm.
Okay.
Like, I used to do those crazy stuff,
wow.
right? But I also used to do graffiti. I used to do graffiti, so I used to write vector in graffiti on my notepads. But when I was in primary school, I would make a whole comic book out of 60 leaves. So I'll build the story from the birth to the growth.
You were that guy.
Yeah, I would build a storyline. I would build a set. I would draw like the village. I would draw the city. I was interested in everything that was artistic, but from my own perspective.
Why you've mentioned self,
Yeah.
and it seems like it came early on. Were you introspective early on, or were you always an introvert, or did you grow up alone, like an only child? Or
Bro, we have 5 kids.
so, but you still seem like so like, I want to figure myself out. I want to know who I am. Why was that? Why do you think you had such a desire from a young age?
I think I was just born inquisitive.
Okay.
Like, as a Yoruba kid, they say, yeah, the others are always right. I'm like, no. Like, don't you understand? Till today, my mom is going to say, Larry likes respect, to talk to him with respect. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, bruh, I've spoken to Atiku Abubakar before. Don't worry, I told him my mind. Like I'm that guy. So since when I was a kid, I was just very interested in things, because what I thought was applicable most times really didn't apply. And I was like, well, why? So I was the first thing in my head was why. Ironically, my daughter is born, and one of the first things she starts to say is when I say, don't do it, she's like, why? Because you shouldn't do that. Why? Because if you do it, this will happen. Right. Why? Because if this happens, like, and thank God she asked me, don't worry yourself. I'll give you all the answers to the why you give me.
She basically took after her father.
Pretty much. So I was just born inquisitive, and it happened in bits. I wouldn't say like I was Brainiac or Dexter, that I knew everything that was happening from the jump. It was just in bits, and I was like, but wait. And that's the funny thing. The moment the society maybe proves me that I'm wrong, I'll just stumble on something that shows that I'm right. I'm like, but this thing is like, for example, elders are not always right.
Right.
Did that get you in trouble though?
I barely got in trouble because I usually argued from the base perspective.
Okay.
Like, so for example, if an elder told a lie and my mom says, oh, elders can be like, well, but the other day this person said this and we found out later that it's not true. And they'd be like, keep quiet, don't disgrace somebody, blah, 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 blah. So it was pretty much, I couldn't get into trouble because I wasn't doing it just to be like Dennis the Menace.
Okay.
Or, yeah, I was doing it because I really wanted to know. Like, how is it true that elders are always right? Because one of the arguments I have with my mom is we have a conversation of recent past. And I'll be like, so Mom, Alpha, are you perfect? Do you know everything? No. And so sometimes I'm right, yeah. Like, I've always been that kid. It happened to me with watching the 9/11 attacks. I'm like, wait, is it okay for somebody to hijack plane and go and fly the plane into a building? Like, waiting be the foundation of that kind of thing. When I saw it in Russia happen with the Beslan attacks, I'm like, wait, why is a man that is built with biceps and everything shooting AK-47 at kids? I've just always been that person.
Always questioned everything.
Yeah.
Always questioned everything. But, let's calm down a little bit, right? You've been very, very vocal and proud of the fact that, you're a Lagos boy.
Yeah.
Lafiaji boy.
By birth.
Undo. Right. How have you been able to, balance being that guy and being, kind of bougie as well?
But I'm not bougie though.
You kind of are.
Because I speak eloquently does not necessarily mean I'm bougie.
But you're a top tier MC, like.
You don't have most of the top tier MCs didn't come from Ivy League schools either in America though.
But you've attained that status now. You walk into a room, people know who you are. You don't have to worry about certain things.
But that's not the definition of bougie though.
Okay, let's say
that's maybe affluent or maybe I have influence.
What's your definition?
What's your definition of bougie?
Bougie is I don't know. Whatever the meaning of bougie is, I'm not it. right. Okay. I'm maybe one thing that I could tell from the jump was my parents never wanted me or any of my siblings to be a statistic. Okay. What that means here is they don't want us to say because we're Yoruba now we're area boys, or because we grew up on Lagos Island we're touts, or we are loud, or whatever it was. Not because she agrees with the arguments, it's because she just doesn't want that argument for us. So whoever agrees or doesn't agree, that's fine. But for me, my kids will go to good schools because she wanted us to just be able to measure up and pair up with the world. So I've been mistaken for bougie, but I'm really not bougie. I'm blessed, yes. Growing up from Lagos Island and being able to have conversations with people, note that I'm not talking about money because that's something else. Being able to stand there and have conversations with people that most people could never really maybe meet. Yeah. And then I'm not kissing ass. Like, I'm clearing you my mind. Like, that's who I am. So being able to blend that, what you're seeing is I'm a Lagos Island boy that grew up in Lafiaji, that went to St. Gregory's College, then went to Djaji Grammar School, went to Government College Victoria Island, ended at St. Gregory's College, finished my secondary school education there, went to University of Lagos. If you understand Lagos Island properly, most of us are very, very brilliant and intelligent, but also street.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So, sorry, Daniel. As an MC, as a rapper, there's this maybe latent need to show your status, but you seem very low-key. There's not is there a deliberate thing of not wearing jewelry, for example, or not, flexing with the money phone and things of that nature?
First of all, gold on my neck is uncomfortable. Silver is comfortable. I could wear silver, I could wear platinum, but if it's ice, I'm cool. But if it's gold, I don't know. I just feel uncomfortable. I feel uneasy. So generally, I just don't like to wear jewelry awkwardly.
Yeah.
My daughter was having traditional day in school, and they've given her a show, everything. That's okay. Remain jewelry. It's like, I don't want. So it's a thing. It's an energy. My dad loved silver jewelry as well. He had gold too. I mean, I have gold jewelry. It's not like I can't wear them, but it just doesn't work for me a lot of times, even though sometimes I might just wear it just for fun. But I tried studs one time. I would always subconsciously just flick it away.
Oh, wow.
Because I don't...
Literally just flick it.
Yeah, I'll just flick it. It just feels uncomfortable for me. So I would say it's both intentional and unintentional, right, in my journey in life. Yeah, but yeah, do I like jewelry? Yes, I have a silver ring of St. Gregory's College that I wear every now and then.
Proud alma mater.
Yes, sir.
Well, we will be discussing your journey going in depth, but maybe we could go for a quick music break.
Yeah, well, this song that I'm about to play right now, it's off your Lafiaji project, and that's what we're going to talk about when we come back. But this is Lafiaji, where you featured Shola Vibrant. We'll be right back.
This is the Cruise Zone.
All right, this is still the Cruise Zone on Radio Now 95.3 FM, where we ease you into the weekend. And we are in the interview segment, and we have Vector, the Viper, in the building this evening. And you just heard Lafiaji off his Lafiaji project. And
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you, Vector, this song, the project, it felt like a return to the roots.
Yeah.
So, give us the backstory. Why was there a need to return to the roots?
There always is a need to return to the roots. Shout out to Kunta Kinte. But yeah, I feel like most times we've been made to see, it might just be evidence of colonial rule, but we've been made to belittle what is originally ours or our way. So yeah, I go to the Igaba Julai, for example, at Isaleku, and I go to vibe with them sometimes. At least I've been there one time, and playing native drums and watching them catch crews. And do you know how relieving it feels to be able to see what they've told you is diabolical and they jazz, voodoo, and everything, just realize that's just a way of life. Right. So that music is supposed to be one of those to take you back to Agidigbo music, like how Lagos Islanders used to vibe. Because at the end of the day, the entire I was born on Lagos Island maternity. Everything I know spans from Lagos Island to wherever I've been to all over the world. So it's only right for you to give props to where you're from. It doesn't even have to be for media or PR. It's just for your own heart. And featuring my sister.
She sounds amazing, by the way.
Yes, sir.
She sounds really, really
Yes,
amazing.
sir.
I think the talent runs in the family.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's talk about hip hop,
Let's
rap generally.
Let's get into it, right?
Ba-ba-bum.
So, what do you think about the present state of hip hop? We've been hearing a lot of people talking about hip hop is watered down these days, where are the real lyricists and things of the sort. So, what are your opinions and perspectives looking at young MCs? You've been in ciphers with everybody over the past few years. What do you think of how hip hop is looking right now?
I think hip hop is okay, man. I think too many people are trying to just force their opinions, their personal opinions on rap or hip hop, right? If you're really talking lyricism, like I don't think metaphors count as much as like real lifelines. Yeah, metaphors are skill driven. You can hear, man, that guy bad. But when last did you hear a hip hop record that touched you inside of your soul? Like, not because the guy had lines that were dope, lines that connected to your real life situation, not the acquired taste situation that you've had. I'm talking real life. When last did you hear? Isn't that what Nipsey Hussle was bringing back again? At the point, yes. Now, like dudes are too quick to judge rap based on their own personal opinions, and they don't understand that if it's okay for one person to have a personal opinion, it's okay for another person to have a personal opinion. Personal opinion versus personal opinion, it becomes a clash of personal opinions, right? So hip hop is going to evolve whichever way it evolves. There are people who the origin of their hip hop spirit kick started with what's his name again? I always forget him. No, I always forget his name, but it's such a huge act.
Here in Nigeria?
No, in America.
Grandmaster Flash.
No, he makes your hair. He makes your type of hair.
Rocky, ASAP Rocky, or
No,
Travis.
Travis, yes. Like there are some people who Travis is the origin of what it, and I've listened to Travis and I've even seen some elements of originality in what he's saying. Too many people are judging hip hop by say maybe a DMX or an Ice Cube or a Jay-Z or a J. Cole or a Kendrick. But the situation is that Green was as hip hop as they came.
Right.
Only from a Yoruba understanding because that's his reality. Right?
Yeah.
So you can't then value hip hop based on your own personal opinions. It doesn't work that way. It's usually hip hop is meant to be someone else's reality and lifestyle. So you can have opinions about that. There's somebody that's told me, Victor, you're at a stage now that you shouldn't be really doing anything Lafiaji anymore. You should have been like top tier. Hey, the Boujee talk. And I was like, but it's okay for Jay-Z to rep New York, yeah?
Interesting.
But now Lafiaji boy I be now. Wait to make a good the form wait I no be number one. Although as I be Lafiaji boy, I'm an educated Lafiaji boy, hence why. Bro, I live on McCarthy Street off King George V. If you cannot see the heavy influence of Western colonization in my life, then you're a fool. Right? So for me, that's as hip hop as it gets. For Ido West, who's the Lagos Island boy, Abraham Soul, this kid with Naramali, C Black. That's as hip hop as it gets with them, and they have stuff that they're saying that makes sense. Who is anybody to say hip hop is dead because there are more people telling their realities? So where I'm at, hip hop is fine.
The reason why I even brought up underestimating hip hop, it often seems like people underestimate the development an artist goes through, especially a hip hop artist. You've been, I don't know if I want to say rapping since, but in '99 you had a duo, Bad Boys. Yeah. So then what was the horizon like? What was Vector saying to himself then? Like,
how did that group form?
Yeah.
Bro, I'd say to you right now, the group was myself, Francis Ifye, who was called Blaze, Nia Falabi was called Crystal. Our first record deal came from the UK, bro.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I remember and I got like £1,000 to just like do whatever. I'm like, we just had to buy drinks and give people. Like, we're so into, and that's the funny thing. For Vector, on the journey, it's always been about my life and my development. Like, even after I try to listen to what people are saying, I always eventually come back to listening to what I'm saying. Because from the jump, it was what I was saying that attracted you. No, but the fans didn't come together and say, you know what, we're going to be a fan group of one guy, we're going to go and look for that guy, and we're going to tell him what to rap about. No. You woke up one day, started to put pen to paper, started to say these things that you're saying, you started to gather attention, and it became this. now I agree with you. It feels like there's a play down on the right of an artist to grow into what the artist is meant to grow into.
Yeah.
And that's not cool, because that's why most times it feels like hip-hop is dying or music is dying. It's because once everybody comes with their own idea, and the guy is picking here, then he gradually loses originality. Because I'm hearing you, okay, you are a radio guy, you think this was going to hit. You are this guy, okay, you are a camera guy, you think, okay, if I dress this way. But what if the guy just doesn't want to wear a t-shirt every time?
Right.
Interesting.
You get what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And you know, back then, you know, when you were coming up, you know, talking about the Bada Boys period, did you, you know, set like a goal for yourself that, you know what, I want to be Nigeria's foremost rapper? Or was it just a thing, you know, a cool thing you just was doing?
I was just catching crews. Like every time we went out there and I saw a rapper that's like a bag, I was like, Lori, I got you, bruh. On any level, I got you. But it wasn't, I didn't set a marker for myself. And it's okay. So, as a matter of fact, I was record label that came and said, you know what? We're going after all the top guys. Because for you to be the top guy, you have to take that top guy. But I says, let me build my own ladder, right?
Wow.
But, and I will not deny I got carried away with that mentality as well. Like, and that's what a lot of people are doing wrong. So you want to get into the scene and you go and do a diss record to Vector. All right, cool, my G. I have the fan base you're tapping from. I mean, I'm the dude who's held his hip-hop down from then till now. If there's anybody or any large number of people that understands what you're trying to do as a rapper, I have them in the millions.
And, you know, some would say like hip-hop is most likely the most engaging, you know, genre of music. But you know, you hear people refer to it as like contact sport, right? It's the bass kind of, you know, kind of music, right?
You
But it really isn't.
You send and you receive.
It really isn't.
Well,
that only happens once. How many legendary beefs have you heard in hip-hop that are more than legendary singles that you've heard in hip-hop?
Well, that's where my question comes in, right? What's that fine line between competition and beef?
Your life. Like we can't in school they say thingify. We can't make something a thing simply because we think it's a thing. It has to be a thing in itself for you to validate that. As a human being that is a rapper, you have a life. If your life is wala, go ahead. It's a person. If your life is peace, go ahead. Peaceful people. I mean, there's been news about Mahatma Gandhi not really being who we think he is.
But at least
Everybody behind the closed doors, yeah.
Epitome of example, peaceful people day, monks day, right? It's for you. So for me, I don't see any rapper that can get at me, period. Not here, not in America, not anywhere. Guy, the height is you're going to say what you know, I'm going to say what I know, right? But the middle ground is determined by the person. If the person lagidi, you know, he must find trouble.
So, you mentioned there has to be that thing. And I hope that you don't mind if we delve into, obviously, the past year.
Okay.
And, you know, your engagement, let's say, with MI.
Okay.
What was that thing for you that you felt, I need to get in the booth, I need to hop on record, and I need to clear my mind at this guy?
And what sort of emotions were you know, going through as all of that was unfolding?
Well, he's as they go silent as they come. We don't take disrespect, period. We're cool guys. We are flexing guys. Like, we're happy guys. Well, be yada. That's it. Like, they're not born your mama well to disrespect person for Lagos and simply because you say you be one person, right? So if I feel disrespected, I will address the disrespect. So if you're asking about the emotions, for me it's like, all right, okay, because I say this everywhere. Even though everything is cool, if you talk about what really transpired then, it was basically you can't assassinate someone's character. I'm not the most.
Do you think he did that directly?
I wouldn't know what the intentions were, whether it was intentional or not intentional. But what I perceived from what was going on was like, my character is getting assassinated. You're not talking about my lyrical prowess or genius or none of that. the conversation started to become about my person.
So it wasn't about you trying to prove a point.
It wasn't about my music person. It wasn't about my music or my skill in music. It was about my person. Like, it started to look like, oh, you know, hard-headed people who don't want to work with people because they feel they're too big and blah, blah, blah. I want to know how Nigeria goes. People like to feast on those type of news and make you the villain. I really do not necessarily care about that, but if I need to get it addressed because it's still a thing, I must get it addressed. So for me, the ultimate angle was disrespect. Plus, if you have a cipher going out there and you're mouthing off and everything, it's a cipher. I could get right back at you, bruh. Like, that's
real,
it.
for
Like,
real.
that's what it is. So yeah, it was a thing I felt needed to be addressed. But I'll address it according to what I get.
Okay. So, as a fan, obviously it's exciting, but this is still your real life.
Yeah.
So, what's it like actually being in a beef? Because you aren't just anyone, and he isn't just anyone. These are two top tier guys going at each other. So
Right.
what's it like?
It's a lot of emotions back and forth. So, for example, I'm as hood as they come. That's why I laugh when you think I'm bougie.
You're still hung up on that Boujee
I'm
word.
not hung up on it. So I believe in the interconnectivity of things. I believe in things that you said as premises and how valid they are in conclusions, right? And of course, it's okay for you to think what you think in your head, but I must clear that for you every time I get the chance to, so you don't get that misconception. Being in a beef is a bunch of emotions. For me, a lot of them like, feast, finally, competition. Let's murk it, right? But then I'm also aware that I'm a Lagos Island boy, that I have love around me on the streets. So it makes it unsafe for a lot of people.
So, resolution. How did you guys, obviously maybe pick up the phone or decide that we've both said what we need to say? Did you guys have an actual heart-to-heart, like privately?
It's not a heart-to-heart.
Well, not heart-to-heart, but like yo, bro, this is how I feel, because it is important to.
Was it a honest conversation?
Oh yeah, when Nusa called me and said, okay, so we're gonna have to do something together, but I'm like, yo, before I get in front of camera with anybody, I first clear my full mind.
And you did that before.
Oh yeah, and I mean he'd have his own say as well, because I'm not God. You get what I mean? But my own, again, I'm self-aware enough to know that you must know how they think, just in case you go to say, you go to think wrongly. You must know, and you must also know what the consequences may be. Right. So for me, it's like, have that conversation and get it out the way. So there's no need to be out there for me like you're cool, but you're not really cool, or you're beefing, but you're not really. I don't have time for that. I'm on a mission and I have a purpose in life. So if I need to clear something again, I just need to get it cleared, get it done and dusted with, and then move ahead.
And right now, would you say, I mean, it's been a minute since that whole, in quote now, conversation. And would you say, like, your relationship has flourished? Would you say you guys are really, really cool?
I don't see it. I just know that it's new. Resolutions it's a new thing. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we're like, you take time. Things take time. You observe things, but from the last conversations that we had, I think, he's a very rational person as well.
Yeah.
So you can only look forward to how this plays out. But as of now, I can't categorically say anything, because I only have one brain and there are two brains involved here. Yeah.
So just like to wrap this up, you have your own label now. You're a label head right now.
Yes, of course.
One thing that struck to me throughout the battle was you had some succinct words about MI's handling of artists through the years, and it was a sentiment that a lot of people agreed with you on. We don't need to mention names, but now that you are at the helm, do you have more empathy for his position as a label head, or do you still feel like maybe there's more he could have done?
Okay, so I'm not in any way an authority as to what anybody could have done, or maybe they could have done better. But one thing I'm certain about in my own head is, Baba, who fell last time? who Bob Marley signed,
Right.
who Michael Jackson signed, who Elvis Presley signed. You know, so like, there are people that sign people, that's cool, but there are also people who didn't sign anybody. So as a label head, I'd rather do my best to give platforms on, and one day if I wake up and I feel the need to maybe take on something proper, I will. But I feel like I have this argument that if you focus on the dynamic nature of your life alone, you probably won't have time for somebody else. So alone in my own life, I have too many things to deal with, right? As a Nigerian especially too. So I don't know if I feel empathy or understanding towards people, because if I was a label head, I definitely, it doesn't mean artists are not bastards though. But if I was a label head, I definitely would be, like, I know how I've handled, like, so working with DJ Embassy, working with AO, working with like photographers, working with like creatives. For me, it's always been an artistic relationship over business relationships. Do I have people who handle business relationships? Yes. But expectations are a bit high as well, because a lot of people, for example, who are coming into dealings with record label situations don't necessarily know what exactly they want
and what they're getting into.
Yeah, what they're getting into. Most people just see, okay, this guy, at a point in Nigeria, if you don't give person car, you go reverse. Whereas they didn't know his basic and his recoupable money too.
Yes.
So for me, I don't know if I have any say to your questions as to whether I now understand what it means to be a label head and maybe have artists that didn't. Because granted, he did work with Brimo and he had a great time, right? He did do a lot of other things that made sense too. So, I mean, it's half and half, 50-50. Best man win.
Well, it's been great, having you in the building, right? Vector,
Yes,
the
sir.
Viper in the building, guys. This is the Cruise Zone on Radio Now 95.3 FM. But before we wrap things up, right? I have one question for you, right? I've been itching to ask.
Okay,
I've been
DJ.
itching to ask, right? Are you an Arsenal fan?
Yes, I am.
Oh, fist bump, man. Gunners for life.
Yes,
I'm an
sir.
Arsenal fan as well. Djaji is an Arsenal fan as well, so
It's
the
the cannon and the shield forever. Yes,
Yeah,
my
okay.
PA is an Arsenal fan as well.
nice. This is the Arsenal League. Samuel
sir.
is an Arsenal fan as well. It's the Gunners League, right?
I guess this is the Europa room.
I tell you. Well, it's been amazing having you here, but Djaji has something to say.
I wanted to talk briefly about your forthcoming album, Teslim.
Okay.
It's been 5-6 years since Lafiaji.
Yeah.
I know that's a long time to be preparing. So what are you looking to articulate on Teslim? What's the vibe gonna be?
What will be articulated on Teslim is what I've been working on. I've definitely been looking for a sound. And I think we're here now.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And you're about to experience that.
So how soon?
You've heard Eli Momo,
Yeah.
Crazy. You've heard Crown of Clay. There's another record coming through.
Okay, it's
I am-
spicy. It's really spicy.
I want to feed it one step at a time. One step. So you understand clearly what the growth is. So if you pay attention to the two EPs before now, there was Vibes Before Teslim, which is the journey towards self-discovery. Then there's Crossroads, which is where you get to after you discover yourself. You now go, okay, I've discovered myself. Do I want to move with this person I've discovered, or I want to stay with the old person?
Yeah.
After that crossroads comes the energy that still lives in you, which is Teslim. So the first things you've heard are snippets to ease you into what energy of album you're about to get. And when you hear the third single, you understand clearly.
All right.
You
I
really
can't wait.
choreographed your career, man.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
really excited to hear it. Early Momo was amazing. Kind of play amazing as well. I'm sure that the next one is going to be even more
Amazing.
amazing.
Amazing. Indeed.
All right, don't worry. In a minute, you hear Crown of Play. That is Vector's more recent record. It's been amazing having you. Thank you so much
feel
for
blessed
gracing
being
Radio
here,
Now
bro.
Studios.
Thank you for visiting Radio Now. We're honored to have you in our presence.
You're on Lagos Island now. This is home, baby.
Hey.
All right, it's like we came to meet you home.
Bye-bye.
All right, so Crown of Play by Vector coming right up. This is the Cruise Zone on Radio Now 95.3 FM.